Welcome to the Branding PR Podcast, where we dive deep into the stories and strategies of today's most impactful entrepreneurs, business leaders, and professionals. Whether you're building your brand, scaling your business, or just looking for inspiration, you're in the right place. What's up, everybody? It is so great to connect with you again for another episode of the Branding PR Podcast. I am, of course, your host, Brandy Sims. I'm super excited for you to be joining me today. Last week, of course, we took a little break with Thanksgiving going on, and I will say this, I'm still full. I have thrown out the leftovers. Yes, that did happen, but definitely so full. Enjoyed time with family, was so important and so needed, especially with just everything that's going on in the world. And then, you couple in holiday season, it just gets crazy. So I hope for you, especially those that are entrepreneurs, business owners that have joined this episode today, that you had an opportunity to take a good, well-needed break in the midst of all the crazy. I think these breaks are really important, especially in this holiday season, because there's a lot going on. There's between spending time with family, coordinating all of that good stuff, traveling, if you're traveling, as well as for business owners, you have promotions going on. There's a lot of foot traffic that's happening during the holiday season. So in between time, please make sure you are taking a break. It's so needed for us. And it's what keeps us fueled and keeps us going to survive the holiday season. But this week, I really wanted to dive in to a brand launch, brand rollout that's been happening. And I know you know where I'm going with this. For my theater folks, we're talking Wicked. Okay, so for those that are not theater folks or even musical folks, which, you're missing out a lot. Wicked is a phenomenal play that originated from a book that expands on the Wizard of Oz story with almost like a prequel setting that gets into the witches. So it is a blockbuster hit. People are loving it. Brands are loving it. Fans are loving it. Even those that didn't really know about the film itself or the book are loving it, and we are eating it up. So I really wanted to dive into this one because, again, such a great example of a successful marketing campaign and brand launch that is so worthwhile, and we're talking to and expanding upon and how we can apply that to where you're at and in the communication space. So let's jump right into it. So some of the lessons that I definitely learned in looking and experiencing this amazing campaign was, number one, this is how you secure brand partnerships. This is how you implement brand partnerships in a strategic manner. So first things first, let's talk about brand partnerships. So as I kind of explored and perused, and of course, just going to the grocery store, seeing all the Wicked promo, I noticed that there were quite a bit of brand partnerships that took place for this campaign to happen. So for example, Bloomingdales was one of the retailers that were a partner with the film. And so you saw apparel items, you saw jewelry, hair stuff, you saw all kind of items that were partnered with the retailer. Other retailers created their own promo items and within that partnership as well. Forever 21, I saw stuff with Lush, I saw stuff with Claire's, and there were so many more. And by the way, when I'm talking about these brand partnerships, I'm not talking about this lightly in terms of the Wicked promo. It's been noted that there's been hundreds of brand partners within this one film. So to say that they were not only strategic is an understatement. They were like, listen, we are going after these brands. We are going after these partnerships and making it equitable and making it worthwhile that people want to jump into. So to say that it's just kind of been sprayed everywhere, it literally has. It has just blown up, and it worked really well. This is what they talk about when they say oversaturating the market. When I tell you, every time I look around, I feel like I was seeing Wicked stuff. And it could be the colors, pink and green, which for the AKs that are joining, hey, I see you. But it also could just simply be that it's a classic that people can connect with, and it made a big difference. So the amount and really the sheer amount of brand partnerships that took place for this film is just a testament to how intentional they were with developing a real partnership plan to where it would elevate the brand even further, it would elevate the product even further, and it would connect with those that are of like mind products and services. So with that being said, we've got hundreds of brands that were a part of this, made a huge difference. When I tell you, from retailers, makeup, clothing, you name it, they were a part of it. This is what we talk about when we discuss brand partnerships and being really strategic and very intentional about it. Securing brand partnerships when you're doing a rollout is a really important aspect of this. And so to frame this within the space of a small business, think of, other like-minded products, like-minded services that you can align your brand with when you're doing a rollout or a launch, right? Who are the people and the brands that can make a big difference for me? And we have almost a shared audience or products that complement each other that we could actually benefit from mutually from, right? So when we think of those types of partnerships, start thinking of those commonalities that you can find with other brands that may be in an alignment with your brand. So for example, if you have a pencil company, right, I would want to line up with a paper company or a stationery brand. You could align with those influencers, maybe that journal or those that have, again, like-minded products. These are the types of things you should be thinking about when you're considering brand partnerships. It's already important in and of itself because here we are showing an opportunity where we can elevate and leverage our brand with another brand and another audience that can mutually benefit each other. It's also getting more exposure and awareness and eyes on your product and your brand. And that's what you want. That's why we do partnerships. That's why we do brand partnerships and encourage it. It's because there's an opportunity to leverage each other's audience so that we both can win and we can find audiences in new spaces that can engage them and show interest in your product and what you're offering. So brand partnerships, huge, loved it. Love the like-minded products that they were using and capturing, but it again goes back to show how intentional they were with developing and securing these partnerships ahead of the movie release. So the next thing I want to cover is exploring influencer collaboration. So within the Wicked rollout, there was a ton of influencer collaboration. I saw a range of influencers creating content that was specifically geared towards this film release. And it was a really big range in terms of larger influencers, but really larger followers, I should say. A larger following, bigger audience, as well as some of the smaller influencers were sharing either product reviews or they were sharing personal reviews of the film, their thoughts on the film. You saw just like a collective range of influencers from every which area talking about this film. And it made a big difference. When I tell you, when I looked at some of the um, examples and I saw some of the fun videos people put together, content people to put together, it made me excited about the film. And I like things like that. It's something that is relatable, it's something that is engaging and interesting, and it makes it worthwhile. Also helps to build up the anticipation for the film release. And for me, I can say that it absolutely did that. So from the professional aspect, this is the type of thing that you want to make sure that you're incorporating when you are preparing for a successful brand rollout. You want to get influencers involved, get people talking about it, showcasing products. If you do have a brand partnership that you're doing in collaboration, showcase those products, get those reviews, incorporate some kind of funny, quirky element to it. We can all relate to funny content, especially when it's something that is related to a fan favorite or a classic like this. We all like those funny, relatable, and even down to just an emotional connection that we can get from this content. And you can do that within the videos. You can do that within your content development. These are the things that you want to think about when you're building these experiences out for people. But tapping into influencers is an amazing, amazing way to go because you can tap into, again, their audiences, their followers, but you're also getting some really good content that can generate even more content and conversation around your release. So, from a small business entrepreneur standpoint, this is what you want to be thinking about and considering when you are planning a launch or a rollout. How am I getting influencers involved? Can I and do I have the budget to get a large range, or is it kind of a toss up? What can I do to get these influencers involved and talking about my event? Again, this is good PR. You want people talking about your stuff. You don't want it just in an ad. There's plenty of ads, and ads have their place, but you want to get other people talking about it, and getting a solid influencer collaboration in the mix is a great way to leverage these opportunities even further when you're rolling out an amazing launch like this. All right. And then finally, let's talk about the press tour, which again, absolutely, absolutely loved. I love the fact that within this press tour, they really focus heavily on mixing up the types of press that they were going to connect with and the type of media that they were going to connect with. I'm seeing it more and more often, and I think it's so, so great that brands have adopted this and understood the value in this. Just going for traditional media is not enough anymore. You have to be tapping into your digital platforms, meaning blogs, podcasts, hello, as well as lives. I know LinkedIn audio is a big thing in some spaces too. Tapping into your digital platforms as part of your press tour is super, super important and super influential. Heck, we even saw it in the presidential election, where both candidates were actively going on podcasts and actively speaking with their constituents through those podcasts and blogs and online sources of media, which is very, very different from 20 plus years ago. You wouldn't have seen it. So it just kind of goes to show you how media has evolved and how brands are taking advantage of the evolving media landscape that is happening and taking place. They're tapping in, and this, I think, made a huge difference. From national sit down interviews to the podcast. I loved every bit of these moments where they captured very vulnerable conversations with the cast and the main cast members of what it was like filming. Some of the takeaways. There was even a couple viral moments that were created from these interviews where people were discussing, for example, defining what holding space is. I think that came from one of the interviews that took place, and really expanding on what it means to and defining what does that mean to hold space for another individual and hold space for other people. The concept of othering. I saw an article written, I want to say it was New York Times, where it discusses, how othering is something that impacts many people, and what that experience is like, and really humanizing these stories all within just this film release. Like, I feel like we're getting so deep with this, right? Those are the types of emotions that you want to capture when you're conducting these types of media interviews and conducting these types of experience, or creating these types of experience that are worthwhile for the viewer. And again, I always kind of want to come back to, this is preparing and building the anticipation for the release. So for you, I want to ask that question: how can you lock in media? Well, as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur in this kind of aspect, you want to make sure that you're informing the media of what you have going on. Let them know if there's an opportunity to collaborate on this. Let them know of what they can expect from your launch, from your release. Give them all the details, and give them those details well in advance of this release or this launch that you have coming up. I think one of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs is that there is kind of this afterthought with traditional media. And I get it. Media landscape is changing. A lot of people are using more digital platforms. I mean, and that's the way that things are going. But don't sleep on your traditional media, because while they still have their print publications, they're also transitioning into digital as well. And they use these in collaboration with each other. So while they may have their newspapers, they still have a digital platform too. So you could very well be tapping in two different audiences when you're connecting with media about your activity and about your event. So don't sleep on traditional media. It's important that you are using and sharing information with your local news outlets, television, print, radio, making sure that they're aware of what you have going on. Build up that anticipation, what they can expect, and offer some exclusivity there if it is available. But yeah, those are the types of things, and just kind of summing everything up, those lessons I've learned and lessons that can be learned from this amazing Wicked rollout and film release. Guys, when I tell you, I was looking at the stats of the final count. I think opening weekend they did like over $150 million, which is freaking amazing today when you're competing with streaming devices and things like that, and platforms. So that's a huge win today. So you don't get those wins without having a really solid strategy and a plan. And you don't get those wins without integrating so many different, important, compelling elements to make it all make sense and make it all fit. So, just again, to sum it all up, lessons learned that can be learned from this Wicked film release, which is Wicked, by the way. Securing the importance of securing your brand partnerships. Make sure that you're looking at like-minded brands that complement your product or your service. Second thing is explore those influencer collaborations. Mix it up. You know, if you have the budget, go after those macro influencers. But if you do not have that budget, still look into your micro influencers, the smaller influencers, and find ways that they can share your products, share more about your release or activity that you have coming up, so they can be a part of this as well. Remember, that's the part of PR, is we want other people talking about how great this product or this release is going to be, and not so much focusing on the ad. The ad is going to do what it needs to do. Now you need to focus on your PR and what it needs to do. We need people talking about it, right? That's how you can get influencers to tap in and help you leverage this even further. And then finally, the press tour, media placements are such an integral part of this. Not only do you need your influencers and other people talking about it, but you do want the media on your side. You want them sharing the importance of this release, like they did with Wicked. And even with those media placements, there could be opportunities for additional media placements because of viral moments or really quick quotes that were helpful or engaging, that can turn into another opportunity. Don't sleep on your traditional media. We need traditional media the same way we need our online media. There's opportunities there. You just got to make sure that you're sharing that information with your local media so that they're aware and they can be promoting and sharing this event too. So, kind of a short episode today, but I wanted to just tap in with you guys and talk about this amazing release. I love it. Love the film, was a theater kiddo way back when. So I'm so excited that it's finally, almost relaunching, because there's been so many adaptions of this, but I'm excited to have this, see this with the more current stars and things like that, and just experience it as an adult. So many conversations around this film. I absolutely love it. But I, as a communications pro, was sitting there just peeling back all of the layers to just kind of put this into this episode today and talk about it, because I was loving it, from the promo, the partnerships, influencers, the videos, content. I was just like in awe of just everything that was done, and see so many opportunities and lessons that can be learned for any business owner that wants to apply an effective rollout and launch of a product or service like this. So But it was so great to talk about this and just unpack this further. As always, check out brandingpr.com for all of our updates, news, resources, which we will be sharing more at the top of the new year to help small businesses and entrepreneurs elevate their brands through PR. Definitely follow us on all the social media platforms. We are now officially on Blue Sky, and you can hear my thoughts about that in a previous episode. Love Blue Sky. Also, checking out Threads. So follow us there, Branding PR, BRANDINC PR. Check us out, see what's happening there. Definitely connect with us. Always like to find new folks that we can collaborate with. And as always, leave us a review. If there is anything that you'd love to hear or want me to dive into, I always like getting this feedback. So please share because I like bringing up some new items that we may not have covered but are worthwhile. Until next time, guys, have a wonderful week.